As we're coming up on closing our next big development, it really got me thinking about the power of your network. And this is nothing new. We've all probably heard this 100 times at least, about the power of your network and how important it is to build a network. And it's not what you know, it's who you know. But I'm really here to say, and today's video is really just about like the power of building that network and how to go about that, because it is so important. I've seen time and time again on all the deals we're working on everything that I've had success with, it's because I've had a great network around me. So before we dive in, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and like this video, and let's get into it. All right, so first off, I don't like the word networking. I think it's kind of cheesy. You've probably heard that a million times too, but I don't see it as networking. I don't ever go out and say, oh, I'm gonna network today, or I can't wait to network with some people. Like that's weird. Like, I don't network, I build relationships. And I think it's the way you think about it that is the switch. And that's why I don't like it, because I'm out there every day when I'm, networking. I'm really building relationships with people, with individuals, and I'm building long-term relationships. Everything I do, I come with it at the mindset of like, hey, I could be working with this person for the next 5, 10, 20 years, 30 years, whatever, or also coming at it with the relationship, or coming at it with the idea of saying, hey, I don't know when I'll ever see this person again, but I want to make sure we both have a great experience so that if we ever cross paths again, we'll still have a great relationship. You know what I mean? So I think that's really powerful to come at it from hey, I'm a relationship builder, I'm a bridge builder. Coming at it with that mindset is way more powerful than saying, hey, I'm going to be a master networker. So that's the way I like to look at it. And then let's dive into like, how do you actually do this? So step one, figure out what you want to accomplish. Like, why are you building a network? What are you building it for? I think if specifically within real estate development, it's building your team, right? It's building your team of partners, your team of supporters, from the politics to the politicians, the city council members, the mayor's office, to your design team. How are you going to build your development? How are you going to design it? To your architects, your engineers, you're going to have to do a lot of reports. How are you going to get those reports? And then think about your investors. Like, how are you going to build out your team of investors? How are you going to get them to trust you? How are you going to have them refer you to new investors? And then thinking about all the way from your debt and equity. How are you going to put together all these different pieces and build that team around you? But before you even do that, you have to be thinking about, well, what kind of deal do I even want to do? So that could be a whole nother video, but I just bring that up to say, first off, before you just go out there saying, hey, I'm going to build a network, start off with saying, hey, what is the goal of my network? Like, what do I want to accomplish? And how can my network help me accomplish those goals? So that's step number one. Step number two is just being intentional about it. Like, I've actually gone so far as creating lists of people that I know I want to reach out to. I want to build a network with people, and I want to be intentional about the types of people I meet. And then thinking about, once you're intentional, you create a list. You don't even have to create a list, but just even think about, okay, what types of people do I want to meet up with? Who do I want to meet up with? So like, I'll use LinkedIn heavily to look up people, see who I want to meet up with. I also use different industry groups, different trade groups. Urban Land Institute is a great one, a great group. Meetups are a great way to meet people. And figuring out, say, hey, in my local area, what are the best networking groups or the best trade or industry groups where I can not only learn, but I can meet people that I want to be in the same room with, and I could learn from, and I could also build relationships and do deals together, do developments together, or maybe a mentor. So think about it from that perspective. And then once you're actually, you have your list of people, or you have your group that you're targeting, that you say, hey, there could be massive value here and great relationships here that I could build, then be intentional about creating those relationships. Whether it's finding something in common, not being afraid to just say hi and introduce yourself. I think it's really powerful. Also, like as easy as a compliment. It sounds crazy, but like I will just send people a message on LinkedIn, a cold message on LinkedIn, which you guys probably get like 50 or 100 of those, where they're like, hey, I noticed we have some things in common, we should connect. I hate those messages because you can tell they're just copy paste messages. You need to be specific, and you need to compliment them on something that you really like about them. So I read this article one time about this guy that was turning hotels into affordable housing, old, rundown, crappy motel style. And he was basically fixing them up, gutting them, completely rehabbing them, putting a brand new face on them, and creating affordable housing out of it. I was like, man, this is really cool stuff. So I typed in his name on LinkedIn, I found him, and I just sent him a message. I said, hey, I saw this article in the Wall Street Journal about you. I love your work. I love that you're passionate about affordable housing. Be very specific on what you like. And guess what? Like 5 minutes later, he messages me back and says, oh, that's great. Yeah, like let's hop on a call. And just that call could lead to many number of things. So we did hop on a call, we connected, we had a great relationship. It was only like a 15-20 minute call, but now we've built that bridge. So now if we ever want to do something in the future, it makes it infinitely easier because we have each other's contact info, we know a little bit more about each other, we're comfortable with each other, we know each other's story, and we know each other, like where each person is headed. So when I think of relationship building, I think of how can I help the person and how can we help each other. And I think if you start from that mindset, then the world is your oyster. It really is. Like you're going to plant seeds today. Like that gentleman I mentioned, like we're not doing business right now. We don't have any plans to do business together. I just knew that he was in affordable housing, a different type of affordable housing than what I'm doing, but he's doing cool stuff and I admire what he's doing. And there may be a point in time where I want to do a hotel to affordable housing renovation, and I don't know how to do it. And so I'll call him. Maybe we'll partner together, or maybe he'll just give me feedback or advice or mentorship or guidance, or maybe he'll connect me with an equity partner who may know or may like to invest in projects like that. You really never know. So I've had this happen time and again, and I think it compounds over time, because the more seeds you plant, the more you're not going to have every single seed come to life and come to fruition and build itself out into a beautiful relationship or a deal or a development or a closing, but you're going to have a lot more for the more seeds you plant. So I've found a lot of success doing this, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's really just mutual connections. Sometimes I'll even say, hey, I'm really passionate about this. And I tell everybody I know. And I say, hey, would you know anybody in this field who I could talk to, whether I could learn more or I could connect with them? That's yielded many relationships. The networking groups has yielded many relationships. And then another one talk about real quickly is putting yourself out there through thought leadership. What we're doing right now, I'm creating content, we're creating value, and there could be possibly you could reach out, there could be somebody else that reaches out. I think that's the beautiful thing. Same thing with Monumental Podcast. That's honestly an excuse for me to network and build relationships with all of my guests, all of my listeners, anybody that sees my content. That is an opportunity for me to build a bridge with them and create a relationship and who knows what may come to life from that relationship. And so I think that's a really cool, unique way. I highly recommend everybody do that. I tell everybody, all of our coaching clients, everybody we work with, I highly recommend it. But really, I think that's how I start build momentum behind my network. And then really, I think the next step is how do you grow the relationship, and then how do you maintain all those different relationships. In growing these relationships, it really comes down to, like I said, I don't want to keep saying it too much, but it's so important, is building relationships. I just genuinely want to get to know people more. When I'm on the phone with somebody and we're working on a deal, or I'm asking them questions, or we're learning, or we're trying to accomplish some goal or close some deal together. Well, in the meantime, I'm spending a little bit of time getting to know them, figuring out how many kids they have, and figuring out when is their birthday, or what is their favorite activity to do. It's simple as just saying, hey, what'd you do this last weekend? Or hey, what'd you do for 4th of July? Whatever it is, learning something about them builds that bridge a little bit further, so that you know what's going on in their life. You care about their life. You show that you care about what's going on outside of the project. That's been really important for me. And then taking that a step further is creating experiences together with your relationship, with your network. That's been really powerful, whether it's through some industry group or a networking group like Urban Land Institute, or it's even you create it yourself. You say, hey, I'm gonna have some guys over for poker night, or we're gonna all play golf together, whatever. It's funny, I say two things that I never do. I don't know why those are two examples that popped in my head, but for me, it's usually I say, hey, who wants to go hiking, or who wants to go mountain biking, or who wants to play sand volleyball, or who wants to have game night. Whatever it is, I think creating that activity and creating that space for you guys to do something outside of work, even if it's grabbing some, going to the bar and getting a bourbon, or getting a beer, or getting a kombucha, whatever it is, I think just building a relationship outside of work is powerful to building that massive network. And the other thing I personally think is, if you're going to be working with your network on projects, on deals, getting developments done, why don't you want to work with people that you actually genuinely want to be friends with? That is powerful if you think about it that way, because then you're oh, these are my friends, and I get to do deals with them, and I get to create developments with them. That's a lot of fun. And you're usually, you spend 8-10 hours at least a day in your work. Why not do it with people that you actually have fun with and you have good bonds and relationships with? So I think that's really, really powerful. It's worked really well for me. I'm lucky and fortunate to have figured this out. It's a little bit of been trial and error, a little bit of learning from my mentors and learning from those ahead of me. But this has done massive, massive wonders to my business, to my mindset, to my happiness, to my health, to my success. It's just taught me so much, because you are, this is another tried and true perspective, but you are the average of the 5 people you hang around. And I think that's true with your network, is you're the average of the people that you work with, and the people you surround yourself with, and the people you partner with. So the bigger your network, the more you can filter out and find the right people that most resonate with you. Because that's the other thing too, is you're not going to click with everybody you meet. You have to work through the network. You have to work, it's you're trying to find people that mesh with you, that match your culture, that match your core values, and people that you want to genuinely work with. I think all that's really important. And one last thing I do want to say to helping maintain and grow relationships is one kind of secret weapon that I think not enough people do is gifts. I think everybody loves getting gifts. I've never met somebody that doesn't like getting gifts, and it's a great way to remind people what you think of them. And so we've really ramped this up over the last year or so with Holiday Ventures, and just being able to give even just a simple thank you card of like, hey, you hopped on a call with a potential investor, or you hopped on a call with a potential partner. Just writing them a simple thank you. It takes you 1 to 2 minutes, and that means the world to that person. And guess what? They're going to think way more highly of you. They're going to respect you more. They're going to want to work with you. And on top of that, they're going to be thinking about you. And that, all of that combined, is really, really important to your success and building a strong network. I think that's another part of it too, is you can build a massive network, but it only matters the strength of your relationships and maintaining and growing those relationships once you've made that initial connection. So gifts are powerful. We do gifts from, trying to figure out what their favorite, bottle of tequila is. We figure out, where they're traveling, and we send them a gift wherever they're traveling. We send little thank you cards. We send t-shirts, like our Impact Investor t-shirts. It's just different little things here and there, and it adds up to one massive, powerful network that can help you be massively successful in your real estate development business. So guys, I hope this video helped and added value to you. I hope this helps in building your own massive network and taking that next step in growth. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe, as well as like this video. And like I mentioned, the Impact Investor shirts, put a comment below if you want one. We may pick a lucky random winner. So guys, have a great day.